Welcome back. This is your boy Souls Banks, and today I'm going to be breaking down how I passed my phase one on my 100K account and how I made 2% on my 50K account, which I'm passing phase two. Let's start with this first asset because my first entry was with this asset, which I ended up in break even. So looking into EuroCAD, I would say it is in a downtrend after this consolidation, and on H4 I was able to see because I missed one of the setups which caused this move. So I ended up analyzing this, and the daily was in a downtrend. H4 I knew that also what is in a downtrend. So price made a break of structure, made a clear retracement. What I was expecting inside this area was just transition. So H4 daily time frame waving to the downside, H4 waving to the downside, H1. So the M30, M15, which was my entry time frame. So let's say I only have H4, H1, and the retracement was happening on M30 until M5, which was the time frames of which I was working my entry on. So basically, what I'm saying is um, H4 uh, and H1 were my bias time frames. So my entry time frame was M30 until M15, M5, M15 and M5. So these were my entry time frames of which I was breaking down my entries. So I knew that H4 and H1 was trending down. So on M30, but mainly M15 until M5, let's say that, because I knew price broke structure. I only needed to be waiting for the retracement so they can capitalize where where price is going to be selling off. So price started making a let me put M30 is better. Price started making let me put New York session. Price started making low, high, low, high, low, high, this high. Then price made this low. So this low was supposed to break what? It broke structure. So after this, price ended up breaking the same low. So at this point, at this particular moment on M5, M15, I was about to be working on my entry. So I ended up using my EMAs. So on M15 and M5, let let put it like this. On M15 and M5, price was like this. Let me show you. It was M15 or M5, I don't really remember. Yeah, it was on M5. I saw this double rejection. So, I entered here, and then price, I was in profit. Price, yeah, entered around this point. I was in profit. Price came back, went, and then came back. When I saw that the session like I didn't want to be I didn't want to have an open position with my stop loss like this. So I ended up putting on break even so that if I get like if price breaks even me, I'm going to be able to capitalize the next day. So I ended up putting my it was like this until I went to sleep. So the day after I just, let's see, on H1, price just did something crazy. It went down and then it did like this. So I ended up losing this in break even. I didn't lose anything because it was on break even, but it was a little bit of waste of time. So price ended up breaking even me, and then I went to this other assets. This was my first entry this week. So I only had two entries this week, which was not which was on EuroCAD and US30. But let me break down the other assets also. So JD 225 was the same way, but it was a bit tricky because the H1 was like the daily time frame was waving to the downside, H4 is waving to the downside also, and H1 was tricky because H1 was showing buying structure, which is very strong because I think when H1 starts to show you that it is about to go up, you need to, yeah, pay attention. So price made a low. So this when price was here, what was supposed to happen is price needed to break, but price didn't break, was testing this level. So I understood the assignment and I went to M15. The same thing that we saw on H1, price needed to go up, was the same thing that price showed up. It created a high, low, high, low, high. Price made a break. After this break, I definitely knew that price would drop. I didn't enter because I was not comfortable with this entry, and I was already expecting US30, So let me show Nash, and then I'm going to be breaking US30. Nasdaq was the same thing. On H4, price was going to the downside, making lower highs and lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Price has been doing that for a while. Lower high, lower low, lower high. It's still a lower high because it didn't break here. Still a lower high, equal high, equal higher. Then price made the break. We could just only expect a retracement. So on H1, H1 until M15 again, I ended up having the same perspective, the same vision that I saw on JB225. I saw this asset and price on M15 made the same correlation, which was price a made a lower high, kept the lower high, the low low, lower high, made a break. My entry should have been here. So I saw that on US30 and on H4, definitely on the downtrend, H1 on the downtrend. So on M30, M15, I needed to monitor and pay attention to this retracement. So on M15, I was able to see what price was doing. On my retracement, price made a high, a low, a high, and price made this break, which would make my entry very tricky. Price made this break, ended up making a low, making a high, which failed against break structure, and ended up breaking this low. When price made this break, made this lower high, ended up opening with a gap. When price opened with this gap, I know that price needed to close the gap, but the main thing was below this level. I already knew that I would be selling, but I don't know what came into my head. When price made this retracement, I would knew that everything was aligned. My stop loss was here. It was a little bit like this. My entry was around it. My entry was here. My stop loss above this lower high, which is an on M5, and my target was at the low. Yeah, my target was the low. So I ended up passing phase two and my 100K account and passing and making 2% on my 50K account, which is in phase two. So in gold mainly, I was able to see this buy, but I did not take advantage of it because I didn't have any time frame that I only had the N15 giving like enough information, but I was not comfortable with it. So in gold, I'm still expecting something new. So next week I'll make probably a video before my entry. So I will show you the dashboard. So this is the 100K account that just passed. I passed in 8 trading days. A yeah, which was 8,347. So now they sent. You see, let me show. They just sent this phase two. So as you can see, there is nothing. I haven't taken any trade because they just sent the account. And this one I made I made 2%. Probably next week I will just risk a 500 so that I can make 1,000. So I'm going to be passing this account. So this is the 50K account which is already on phase one, and hopefully If I find a setup which gives me 1 to 5, I will be able to pass this account next week. So thank you for watching me, and if you would like to have different type of videos, just say anything or write, and I will be making the videos that you would like. So thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.